Ciao, hi, hey, holla, guys. It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video, and welcome to my plans ahead for supporting the Black community for Black History Month on Sundays. I know, well, this is the last Sunday. In fact, I was going to say the penultimate Sunday, but it's the last Sunday. Still struggling to get used to wearing glasses, by the way. For people who've seen my videos before, um, rather recently. But yeah, yesterday I was very tired, knackered, as we would say here in the UK. I was shattered, knackered, tired, or whatever you want to call it. And I just lacked motivation and energy. Much as I tried to push myself in my mind, I just couldn't seem to make decisions or do anything or whatever. It took me ages to get up and the rest of me out of bed. Like, I think I woke up at like 1:30 and that kind of stuff. So I felt it was a wasted day, but I did try and go. I wanted to go through my diary and write up some stuff on post-it notes and stuff, and I just couldn't make a decision on where to write or things like that. Nice life story, but yeah, so I didn't get to do any videos like I planned to do. My main plan, and I always seem to struggle to do this, was to go through my YouTube videos because it's much easier on YouTube to look at um, the way the layout is to look at the videos I haven't managed to do yet. And I thought it was going to be just easy just to go through all the videos I've done in February and all the videos I still want to do. But it wasn't quite as easy as I thought. I thought they'd be in chronological order and that kind of thing. Was a big word for me, but due to my use, talking about words, due to my use of alliterations and other silly patterns I have, I'm thinking of words that begin with S and especially SU and that kind of thing for Sunday. But yeah, hopefully by the end of this month and in the future, each February, I'll have empowered, hopefully, or eventually, as many black people as possible, especially in America, or at least try to, I guess. I do my best. I might not do it very well, but I do my best. But anyway, these are pointers number 1 to 10 as per usual. And as ever, please let me know what you think. And I think for now that covers the intro. Hoping to go for a nice walk after this, and again, nice story. But yeah, I wish I could sleep less and do more. Not hard work, but like just writing and making videos and stuff like that. But yeah, so here goes. These are pointers number 1 to 10 as per usual. So number 1, I hope to help black people around the world, especially in America, to succeed. And I suppose it depends what success looks like for them, to help them to achieve success. Again, think of words like SU, especially. And I think one thing is to work for the black diaspora to work together, especially in February, or even the black diaspora maybe more generally, but especially like allies like myself in February and October, because it's Black History Month here in Britain in October. So to help them to succeed, and depending on what success means to them, whether that's achieving financial success or success in business or poetry or writing or work or investing or whatever it might be. And I'd love to know from the black community. I'd love to interview members of the black community, especially in America, each February, if and when I can, to ask what things like, what does success mean to you? What would you define as being as success and being successful, and how can allies or want to be allies like myself support the black community? I'd really love to know. Yeah, for those who not that I get many viewers, unfortunately, but for those who do watch any of my videos, if you want to know where I was yesterday, I was just very tired, I'll admit, just really feeling bad and demotivated. I think I'm not sure if it's my diet catching up with me, or I had a pizza on Friday that I didn't cook properly, so maybe that made me feel really tired or lethargic, or I don't know what it was, but for some reason I just, maybe overthinking and struggling to make decisions, I just couldn't get going really. Anyway, moving on to, I suppose even I did a little bit, like in terms of looking at my YouTube videos and seeing which ones I still want to do, but hopefully I'm a step closer anyway each day. And I do feel yesterday was wasted. And I was thinking even today in the morning I was struggling, even though I got up early for once, by my standards, I was struggling to get motivated. I thought, I hope it's not going to be another day where I waste it, but at least I'm making this video, giving it a go. But yeah, moving on to number 2, as I say, how can allies like myself, or want to be allies like myself, help the black community to achieve success? How can we be suitable allies to help the black community to achieve success, to succeed in their chosen fields and that kind of thing? I think one thing is listening to the black diaspora. Again, I love to interview members of the black diaspora, and I hope many get involved in typing up either on Facebook and or YouTube, preferably both, and sharing ideas on what success could be and how to help people to achieve success, to succeed in that, and how to support them. How can we be suitable supporters to support the black community to achieve success? Number three, one thing I think of is that I give free support, really. I'm not that materialistic. So for me personally, like some people might do it for, like some organisations might do it to look good for their PR, obviously public relations and all that kind of thing, which is about looking good for their bottom line, for their return on investment and that kind of thing. But I'm not that materialistic, I'll say. So for me, it's like free support. Like even if I did make money from these videos or whatever, I would give as much of that as possible to the black diaspora, especially in February in America. In February's case, to people in America, to the black diaspora, to the black community in America. But I suppose for companies, they could do it for part of their PR. I think, like, I know I'm trying to focus more on America. But for instance, in Britain, it's an American company, but there's Subway and there's Greggs, and there's companies like Coca-Cola. I think of Subway Sundays, that's what I was thinking of that. But even like Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and companies like that, maybe the black diaspora could be smart and shrewd in terms of seeing what they could do to how they could be encouraged to invest in and support the black community and that kind of thing. So I think normally, because it's illegal as far as I'm aware to have monopolies, they normally are duopolies at least. So again, in the food and beverage companies, or at least in the beverages, it's Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola who compete with each other. Funny enough, two American companies, but there's Subway and Greggs here. I suppose there are probably other companies that sell sandwiches or things like that, but they're the two main franchises as far as I'm aware. I suppose there's McDonald's as well. McDonald's, Greggs, Subway. I guess McDonald's and Greggs are a bit different, but in terms of fast food, but yeah, I often think when I think of Subway, I think of Greggs, and vice versa all the time. I also think of like McDonald's and Subway and that kind of thing. So that the black community could maybe write open letters, letter-headed letters to them and say, and so we'll make videos maybe more coherent than me, of course, not say much, but to say, what will you do to invest in and support our communities? I mean, they might be doing that already, but maybe they could do it at a bigger scale and working together. Yeah, seeing what companies like Subway can do to, again, I think of Subway Sundays, to invest in the black community, and that could push other companies like Greggs, McDonald's, Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola, and others to want to compete and outdo each other to see who can invest the most in the black community, because it would be good for their PR, which would be good for their return on investment. The thing about freedoms and freedom of speech, please let me know again what you think in the comments. I know I said that a bit earlier, but I hope you will share the video, like the video, and get involved in the discussion on what are the best and most suitable ways to empower the black community. And I've been trying to put off my own personal goals to think about supporting the black community and that kind of thing, and be as selfless as possible. I guess not easy to do, but I give it a good go. I guess my own reward would be to feel good to support the black community, from one ally group to another. I guess it's to try and work together against white supremacy and that kind of thing. Also, I think of freedom, and I know I've talked about this a few times, but I'd love to see the black community pay the lowest amount of taxes possible, preferably zero. Could be a form of reparations and that kind of thing. Maybe they could lobby together again with allies like myself, or want to be allies and that kind of thing. Number four, another one I talk about quite a lot is, like, I think instead of supporting the military, like Western militaries, I think that it'd be cool to support projects that support the black community, like support black-owned businesses and that kind of thing, startups, SMEs, and general businesses, like support black banks and businesses, like hashtag please buy black and hashtag please bank black and that kind of thing, at least in February. I guess obviously the black diaspora might want to support each other more generally, but I think for allies like myself, we could at least take February, even if it's just 1 month of the year, to support black-owned business as much as we can. At least, like, I try and do it in my own little way, like raising the profile and talking about ideas. And again, I know I might not be that great at doing it, but my best that I can. And I'm talking about suggestions and commenting. So if people make a recommendation saying like this is something you could do better, or this is how we could promote more black-owned businesses, or things like that, and in the comments again, maybe sharing links for black-owned businesses, social media content creators, and things like that from the black community and that kind of thing. Number 5, I love to support black ambition, and I think it'd be cool if rappers, singers generally, sports stars and whatnot from the black community, and again, allies and whatnot, every February supported black-owned businesses and that kind of thing. I think like, again, I know I've mentioned this before, but like Pharrell Williams, Pharrell Williams, and who runs like Black Ambition. I suppose it's Damon John, who has Black Entrepreneurship Day and that kind of thing. And I think of the song like Steel Dre, looking at ways to fund more black-owned businesses. So like I think like certain songs could donate 10% of whatever their revenue is from that song to support black-owned businesses and that kind of thing, like startups, sole traders, SMEs and whatnot. Yeah, I love to support black ambition generally, and again, I love for people to share ideas on what are the best ways to support the black community every February, again in America and Britain in October and that kind of thing. But even the global black diaspora, especially in February and October and that kind of thing. Number 6, another one I talk about quite a lot is like sports, and how I'd love for Italian soccer teams to have a partnership with African Americans and like improve relations through soccer. So seeing how soccer or football or whatever you want to call it can improve relations and be used for good. Maybe Italian soccer to work with FIFA and UEFA and other bodies, especially FIFA and charities and NGOs and whatnot, to show how soccer can build bridges and that kind of thing, and tackle racism in Italy through soccer. As a fan of Italian soccer, I jokingly say like I'm mixed up, being mixed race, so I support Italian soccer, even though it unfortunately can be very racist, but it's my one concession to them, in spite of them being an anti-imperialist. But yeah, I hope it'll be a mutual benefit, and Italian soccer could fundraise for black entrepreneurs and work with black enterprise and things like that. So another group that could support the black community maybe, and challenge racism in Italy through soccer, and see a benefit. Like for instance, let's say Roma, if they work with the black community and the black diaspora in America and all over the world, and have an anti-racism campaign, and see that more black people could invest into and sponsor them, they could show that hopefully it will improve Roma both on and off the pitch, on and off the field. So they could say anti-racism will hopefully benefit the club in the short and especially in the long run, all being well, God willing and Godspeed. Not sure how much God will have to do with it, but you never know. Hopefully, small that. Anyway, moving on, number 7. As I say, I love to support black sports stars, and I think if they network together, they could make life easier for each other. I love things to be nice and easy, although maybe life would be boring without a challenge. I normally say many hands make light work, so working together to make life easier for each other, even though I'm not that religious, I know it's a biblical quote, but many minds make light work, and if you unite together, you can make life easier. So I know people say business has got to be hard, but I wonder if people could challenge that unwritten law. I like what I think it's the late Bob Proctor said. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, as far as I'm aware. Pretty sure he passed away a few years ago. But he said that the idea of working hard for money is silly, because he talked about Taylor Swift. I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but this is what he said. He said Taylor Swift does what she loves, and she makes lots of money from it. She became the top paid entertainer. And I think if you believe it's going to be hard and you've got to do it by yourself, then it maybe becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe by working together, you can make things easier, and using automation, robotics, apps, AI generally, and things like that, maybe it could be easier. Simon Squibb says that it's not the harder you work, the richer you get, it's the more risks you take. But again, I think networking together, supporting each other. Like I think, for instance, I talk about like black-owned cafes could get suppliers who are black-owned coffee and tea companies, as well as other beverages and other foods and things like that, restaurants, so they could supply to each other and work and trade together and that kind of thing. But moving on, number 8, as I say, allyship, other minorities, POC and whatnot, working together against white supremacy. supporting each other, again, I think it would be better to do that than support things like militarism and things that don't support POC back. And number 9, I'd love to, I'd love to read from and hear from members of the black community and say how to be a great ally and things like how to listen to the black community. I think that's a really important thing, to listen to people and like what their goals and aims and ambitions are and that kind of thing, and discuss their why, which is the reason why they do things, which I think is a really important thing, which could give great purpose. Simon Squibb also says, find purpose in your pains and things like that. And number 10, I'd love to support young black people to start their own business. As I say, if I could fundraise to support them, like instead of going to college or uni sometimes, maybe as well as doing so, but sometimes even instead of doing that, a different path could be to have that capital to take risks. Again, talking about taking risks, which I said a few minutes ago or whatever, and to start little businesses and learn from your mistakes. I call it fail your way to success. So when you make mistakes and ultimately fail, you keep learning them. And the earlier you do that, the more experience you're going to get as you get older. Because I think experience comes from doing, not just age. But again, like let's say from the song Still Dre and songs like that, the next episode, and other songs, rap songs and whatnot, they could donate 10% of their profits or whatever to support young black entrepreneurs to take risks and to give them the seed capital to take risks. Like here in the UK, I don't know what it's like in America, it's probably even more, I guess. I think it's just more expensive, but it costs about 9,000, I think it is, to go to uni for a year. So say if you that over 4 years, it'll be like 36k or something. If you took that 36k and invested in a business and people fundraise that sort of money, then it could be a good education. Like you learn from your mistakes, as I say, you probably learn more from doing that kind of thing. As the financial guru Robert Kiyosaki said, what the Montessori says, what the hands do, the mind remembers. So actually doing things. Unfortunately, I'm not very good with my hands, but things like some people say like consumerism. I'll just wrap up with this point. People say like consumerism. The black community consumes a lot of things like Nike, Adidas, and things like that. Maybe they could have more of a they could have shares in those companies, so they buy what they consume. As some people say, they need to build things, and I can't remember exactly what they said, but they said about their own community. They said we don't create what we buy and things like that. So about consumerism and maybe saving that money and investing it instead. Maybe investing in those companies, or even if they buy from them, they're investing as well. So they're getting a share of the pie and that kind of thing. But maybe even saving money instead of going to Starbucks. But instead of going to Starbucks, maybe even instead of going to Subway or whatever else, or McDonald's, they could save that money. Obviously, got to eat, I guess, but they could save that money. Some people say, like for the price of a coffee or whatever. So instead of having coffee out, you could have that in your own house and save that money and invest that into shares or whatever, or invest that on behalf of their kids or whatever. But I'm just throwing ideas out there. But yeah, so investing and consuming less, and investing, or even investing in the things they consume in.